the first day of Festival Media Global in Rome. It's lovely to be here with Emi Gal from Teads, who's just come off stage talking about AI.
Yep.
How's Rome been for you so far?
Amazing. I arrived on Friday.
Oh wow, so you've had a few days.
I've had a few days. I love Rome.
What have you been up to? Give me some hints, because I've got a few days off after this.
Pizza, pasta, and gelato. That's what I've been up to.
All the carbs and a little bit of ice cream on
Pretty
top.
much.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about AI,
Yep.
and we were just discussing, some people are a bit scared of it. Do you think that that's, worth being scared of, or do you think people need to kind of realise it's there to help?
My thoughts are mixed on that. There are some people that know a lot about it, a lot more than I do, who are frightened by it, like Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk. My view right now is that I'm not frightened, because the AIs can only do what someone could do in a second. Right? If some human activity requires more than a second, an AI can currently not do it.
Oh, okay.
Right? So will AIs be able to do it in the future? Maybe.
You said 2025 is when we're going to start seeing that.
If you look at the evolution of Moore's law, which is like the way computers evolve in terms of power, computing power, by 2025 we should be able to have an equal amount of computing power per second as humans, which at that point you could argue that we have enough power to recreate the human brain, which frightens some people. Well, I think it's exciting.
I'm a little bit nervous because I did see in the paper the other day, first journalist AI, and I was like, oh, it's coming, I need to retrain as well. I mean, it's hard to know what to retrain as these days, because you were talking about how creativity is something that AI is able to do, really.
Yep.
It was very impressive as well, the music you played and also the painting.
Yep.
Tell a little bit more about how
so
AI is progressing in creativity.
there are a number of researchers that are trying to show that the thing that we as humans consider intuitive and an endeavor that requires more than just being able to compute calculations, they're trying to show that computers can do that, and they're being pretty successful at it. That said, I think that the way creativity is going to evolve is computers plus humans, because if you look at the things that humans are good at, it's very much connecting different types of very different data and getting an insight out of that. AIs are currently only able to look at one type of data and get some insight. So an example of that, very unrelated to advertising but relevant, is there's a team of researchers that has built an AI that looks at medical images and says whether there's a problem or not, like cancer or whatever, cardiovascular disease and so on. The AI can now say there's very likely probability that there's cancer, but it cannot say why it's there. A doctor would be able to look at that and look at the history of an individual and say, well, the reason it's there is because of this and that. So if you then combine the fact that computers are really good at detecting something and doctors are really good at saying why that happens, you have a kind of a perfect environment. So I think the future...
Working with it as opposed to against it is the key.
Exactly. And I think the future of humanity will be very much computers plus humans working together in a symbiotic way.
In a kind of connected way.
Absolutely. Elon Musk has just started a company about called brain-machine interface, trying to get humans to interface with AIs in a more high bandwidth way by connecting a device to your brain.
It was also interesting because you start off by showing like the history of advertising and like the progression. What do you think AI can still learn from the past, to move forward?
Well, I think in order for an AI to exist, it can only learn from existing data.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that AI will be able to pick up on very easily is what works and what doesn't. There was some advertiser back in the 80s that says 50% of advertising works, we just don't know which 50%. And AI will know which 50%. It will know which impression works and which one doesn't by looking at historical data, much better than a human could do. So I think in terms of being able to show the perfect ad to the perfect individual at the perfect time, AIs will be exceptional at doing that.
And you mentioned all the factors that come into play for the perfect ad as well.
Exactly.
Factors, isn't it?
So I think the ideal ad of the future has 4 characteristics. It's interactive. You can engage with it rather than just watch it.
So instead of it telling you the story, you can become
Exactly. It is conversational, so you can engage with it. We can talk to it like you would talk to a representative of a brand in a store.
Yes.
It is adapted to the device where it's being watched. You're on a big screen, you want a beautiful ad, you're on a small screen, you want a short ad, and so on. And it is data-driven, so it uses data to personalize the experience to each and every individual, depending on who they are and what their preferences are.
And on a more personal side,
Yeah.
which sci-fi/pop culture AI character do you think has got it most correct? Which is the most realistic that you've seen? You know, because obviously people always think about like the Terminator. I think about characters in the Jetsons. Maybe is there any particular? I love the film AI by Steven Spielberg. I think it's really interesting what they do, whether the child, you know, believes that he's a small child and you know wants the love of the mother.
So it has a pretty dystopian view, but I think Ex Machina got it right.
Yeah, that's a very interesting film, although the ending's very bleak.
It is a very bleak.
Don't be frightened.
Yeah, don't be frightened, but look at Ex Machina. If you don't want to be frightened, don't watch Ex Machina. I think that movie got it right. I think Her got it right to a large degree.
It's interesting, that one.
But I think we don't know what we don't know. So it's very hard for us to envision what shape it will take because we don't know how it's going to evolve. And I think we're getting closer to having the ability to envision what those AIs would look like. But
not quite there yet.
Who would have thought 10 years ago that we would have had this device, right? Nobody would have thought. That's my wife. So I think Ex Machina and Her got it right.
Fabulous. Well, there you go. And you also gave us some reading to do.
Exactly.
So I've actually added to my Amazon wish list.
Amazing.
Now, so yeah, they look really interesting books. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head.
So the 3 books that I recommended were Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom, who's a British professor. Who wrote about how we're going to get to general AI. A book called The Circle, which is a novel about a company in the future called The Circle, which is the combination of...
It was made into a movie as well, but not...
It's made in a movie, but
okay.
I don't think the movie's
Stone,
great.
did you say?
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
And then the third one is The Innovator's Dilemma, which is not necessarily a book on AI, it's a book on innovation and how not to be disrupted as a company or individual by a technological advancement that you completely missed.
There you go, 3 books to get on your Amazon wish list. So what else are you going to do while you're in Rome? Is it more gelato, pizza, pasta?
Absolutely, that's my plan for the rest of the week.
And any sessions you're looking forward to seeing?
I was actually quite keen to see the IBM session.
You better get in there quickly then.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, lovely to talk to you, and run.